Hey guys, it's Danilo from the King Realty Group, and welcome to this month's market update. Hey guys, so we know we're in the month of December, and every single month we have to reflect on the stats from the previous month, which is November, but it is December, and I want to make sure that just like I am, everyone else out there is taking some time to spend time with their family. Now, everyone who knows me personally knows that I have a 5-month-old, well, almost 6-month-old, and we have a 5-year-old, and we also have a beautiful wife. And so I'm going to spend some time with my family this month, and I think that everyone should be doing the same. So is there anything you're going to take away from this video? That's probably the most important message. Okay, now let's get into the stats. So as you see here, we have an average price point in the GTA of $761,000, and that's down 2% from 2016. We were looking at detached homes. We're at $996,000, and that's down 5.8%. Semis at $739,000 are up 1.2%. And we know that since April of this year, some policies that were implemented by the government of Ontario has greatly affected the low-rise market. And I think we're still in a little bit of a recovery on detaches and semis, but definitely a lot more sales in the last couple months when it comes to these type of houses. So I think this is still going to be a short-lived downturn. Townhouses, by the way, are up 4.8% at 627,000. And the story of the year is condos, which despite all odds are still up 16.4% at $516,000. Now let's talk a little bit about sales, guys. So in the GTA, we've had 7,374 sales in the month of November. And we can't avoid this stat. It's down 13% from last year. But we got to remember that last year was a record year when it comes to sales. So if we compare it to record years, it's likely going to be a deficit, right? 13% seems low. But at the same time, 7,000 sales in the month of November is actually a little bit against the norm. Okay, we've actually had a little bit more sales in October, November than we do in other years. So that's actually a really good thing. Okay. Now, the other thing we're going to talk about, guys, is months of inventory. Now, months of inventory is actually a really good stat to kind of understand whether we're in a seller's market, a buyer's market, a balanced market. And if you don't know what this is, I'm going to explain to you a little bit before we see the numbers. If we're about 5 or 6 months of inventory, meaning that if no new houses were to come to the market, everything would sell within 4 to 5 months. That, to me, is a balanced market. Okay, anything more than 5 to 6 months, which we may be seeing out in York region, it's tipping over to the side of the buyer's market, where the buyer has a little bit more power in negotiations. If we're anything lower than 4%, which we're seeing in Durham and Peel, we're seeing that in Toronto, then that would be considered still a seller's market, despite what some other people might be saying. Now, I know that things have slowed down a bit, and maybe a year ago everything was selling in a week for multiple. Okay, that was an extreme seller's market. I would say in a lot of the GTA, we're still in a seller's market. You just got to play your cards right to come out on top. Okay, so let's take a look. In the Toronto market, we're at 1.8 months of inventory. I would say that's still extremely sellers. Okay, and as long as you're playing your cards right, you should be able to get the money you'd like if you're listing your home. In Durham, we're at 2%. Peel, we're at, sorry, not 2%, 2 months of inventory. In Peel, we're at 2.2 months of inventory. And in York region, we're at 4.6 months of inventory. What did I say earlier? I said that if we're about 5 or 6, maybe 4, 5, 6, we're at about balanced market. Anything higher than that, we're crossing over into buyer's market territory. We're getting there in York region. There's properties on the market a little longer than other parts of the GTA. And if you're a buyer, there's some houses you can buy definitely for a lot less. Now, again, guys, when it comes to months of inventory, I could even break it down further into little micro markets within Durham, within Toronto, et cetera, et cetera. These are general numbers, and if you want to know specifically about your community and your neighborhood, give us a call, send us a text, send us an email, and we'll talk numbers in your specific community so that you can understand exactly what's going on there. Aside from that, guys, let's talk a little bit about final thoughts. I know at the beginning I said this is December, you got to spend time with your family. I think that is true, and I think that I want to say it again just to make sure you guys are doing it. But the other thing is, into 2018, what do we expect? Okay. I think that a lot of people are thinking that, maybe the market's going to continue to drop because of new mortgage rules, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I look at historical stats, and I want to make sure that everybody understands that there's fundamentals that drive real estate prices. And let's talk about 3 fundamentals that I think are very important to consider, whether you're thinking, will a price go higher, will a price go lower? Demand is actually a huge thing as well. Right now in the GTA, we have low unemployment. I believe it's under 6% right now, which is historically very low. That means a lot of people are working. A lot of people are working towards maybe even purchasing homes. Okay. We also have high immigration, so that's two different things: new to Canada and also people moving from province to province. People that come into Canada, a lot of times they're going into urban centers. So we're talking about Vancouver and Toronto. We're predicting about 200 to 400,000 new people into Canada or provincial moves into these markets, and that means we're going to have a lot more people in our markets, and that means that, you know what, there's going to be a demand of homes, and people are going to be buying. The other thing is low interest rates. And I know in the second half of 2017 we've had increases in interest rates, but we're still, if you have a good credit, a good job, and all that sort of stuff, we're still around 3%. That's historically low. Anybody who's bought a house, I don't know, 10 to 15 years ago, they were paying 7%. Talk to maybe some of your parents. Maybe look back and think about some of the purchases you've done in the past, and you'll see that today we have low interest rates. Those three things actually build up demand in our market, and that's what drives pricing, aside from policy changes and new mortgage rules and things like that might come in. Another detail is that Phil Soper, which is president of LePage, he actually let us know that there's a report from LePage that's very, very important. It's telling us that there might be a 5 to 6% increase in the GTA just due to demand. So, that's a good number, and I think that there might be a slow start to 2018 based on these new mortgage rules. There's always a little bit of a consumer behavior change, and people are a little bit on the sidelines seeing what things are happening. But you know what? In the second part of 2018 and moving forward into 2019, I think we're going to have a really strong market. And if you're out there looking to do something, I think that we need to just start with a conversation. And then we got to figure out what the best thing for you is. Everyone's different, and that's how we're going to do it. So, guys, thanks so much for listening to this month's report, and you guys have a great December. Happy holidays. Take care.